Hello, welcome to Sharmit. In our previous session, we discussed about the way in which what we are doing. We are accessing some XML file that we have inside our IFS location into RPGLE program, and then we are parsing the data. So, but in today's session, what we will do, we will create the XML file in IFS location, but from RPGLE program. Okay, so let me clear a few things about the IFS if you haven't watched the previous session. So for to reach the IFS location, you have to hit this command work lnk, means work with link, then hit enter. And these are the locations. Like I have created this directory. If you are not aware how to create directory, then you can refer the previous session in which we are discussing about the parsing. There I have explained the way through which we can create the directory inside the IFS location. For today, we are just discussing about the way through which we can create these XML file directly from the program. Okay, so if you take option 5 here in this directory, then you can see there is only one file which is data.xml. Okay, so now what we will do, we will create another file here with some other name, and but this time we will do it from the RPGLE program. So let's go through the program. So I'm taking this program in edit mode, explain it. Now press Shift F7 for writing the code in fully free format, and on the very first position you have to write this star star free. So after that, whatever you will write, it will be considered as a free form of code. Okay. Now on line number 10, we are using these two different uh, control option, which is not for the debugging but for some other purpose, because here we are going to use some procedures and predefined procedures as well as APIs. So to use that, we have to declare these things. It is mandatory, so you have to keep this default activation group as a star no, and activation group is as star new. Okay, so make sure that you specify it correctly, otherwise your program will not be able to call those predefined APIs or procedures. Okay, now discuss about the procedures. So I hope now you all are aware of the ILE concept, like procedures, sub procedures, because we have discussed it in the previous few sessions. So today we are going to use few of the predefined procedures that we have inside our system. So let's discuss about them. So first procedure that we have to declare here is for opening the file. So suppose we want to create some file in the IFS location. So before creating that, what we need to do, we have to open that file where we want to create the new file, right? So for that we are declaring this procedure from line number 15. So how to do this, you have to write dclpr, then your procedure name. You have to write these lines as it is that I am using. You have to write in the same way, because these are the some predefined things that we have to use as it is. Okay, so you can directly copy paste from here also. So here we are writing dclpr open, then this procedure will return some numeric value, integer value of size 10. So we have written it here. Then it is referring the external procedure open. It should be as it is. Okay, now you can pass it as a star n, because we are not giving any name here. Then pointer, this will return some file path. This is mainly for the file path, and here you have to pass this value options equals to star string. Then second field, you have to pass int tan, which is value. This is for the file option. Then for the permission, this is no pass, means these parameters are not needed to pass every time. It is optional parameter. Okay, so these are the two parameter, uns10 and uns10 means unsigned 10. So below two parameters is for permissions and code page. What is code page? It is something related to the css id. Okay, so for now you can consider that you have to copy these line as it is to open any file inside the IFS location. Okay, now see the second procedure. So second procedure is for writing the data into the file. Okay, so we have opened it. You can consider this process in three part. Firstly, we will open the file, then we will write some data in the file, and then we will close it. So we have discussed the procedure that we are going to call for opening the file in IFS. Now we will discuss about another procedure where we are using the where we are writing the data into the file. So this procedure looks like dclpr, then procedure name write. It will also return 10 integer 10 value, and here this time we are calling write procedure. Okay, now there are, it will take three fields or three parameters, which is integer 10 and pointer and unsigned 10. So these are the values, and here I have written the description here. So this is for the file pointer, this is for pointer to data, and for length of the data. So I hope this procedure is also clear. It is you have to copy this same as it is, like all these three procedures, then you can directly call them and you can do whatever you want to create in your program in IFS location. So okay, so this procedure we will use for writing the data into IFS. Now we will see the another procedure which is for closing the file. So it looks like dclpr, then close. It will also return 10 digit integer value. Then it will refer the ext procedure, means external procedure close. And here in this we have only one field, which is one argument, which is integer 10, which is mainly for file pointer. Okay, so these things are clear. These procedure you have to copy as it is. Now we need some constant variable that we are going to use here for writing the data and for creating the XML file dynamically from RPGLE program into IFS location. So let's see these constant. So there mainly we are declaring five constant, which is write file, where we have assigned value 2, create file 8, append file 256, clear file 64, and crlf as this is x, and then this is mainly for x code. Okay, so you have to write it as it is, and this is the code for the crlf, which means whenever we want to break the line or we want to change the line, then we will use this constant crlf. Fine. So these are the constant that we are going to use here. Now second thing, now what we are doing, we are declaring some variables. First variable is output variable, which is of integer type 10, then content character 500 characters, then name and email. So these two we are declaring just for making the program dynamic. So whatever the value we will retrieve, suppose these values we are getting from some other program or other tool, then in that case we can replace that variable name with that value. Okay, fine. So now what we will do, we will open the file. So how to open that file? For that you have to use this open procedure that we have already created above. Then you have to pass the file name which you want to create here. Okay, so you can make it as a test. This is the new file that we are going to create, where in this location home, then Sharmit, text Sharmit, and text.xml. Then second argument we are passing here is this, which is create file, write file, and clear file. So these thing should be mentioned as it is. So what means create file means, like these are the constant value that we have declared here. So these are the mainly the permissions that we are assigning to this this procedure, right? So you have to specify it as it is after a colon. Then after the another colon, you have to give these permissions 6 into 64, 6 into 8, and 4. Okay, as it is. Fine. So what it will do, it will return some value in output variable. Then we will check this value. If it is less than 0, then we will show that it is 0, because it is sorry, then we will write it as a error condition. Else what we will do, we will assign some value, means we will write some content. So before writing the content, what we are doing, we are assigning some value to this name and email variable. Then in content variable, we are designing our XML. So these are the fixed thing that I want to keep in my XML. So I have written it in quote. Then after this thing, I am using crlf. So what it will do, it will change my line or press enter in XML file. Then we are writing the second tag, and we are passing we are attaching this variable. So whatever the value is assigned in this variable, it will be written inside our main program, or sorry, in XML file. Okay, so that's how it makes the this program as dynamic, because we can change these values whenever it is required. And similarly we are completing our XML as it is, like here crlf, then next tag value from the variable, then crlf, and then closing tag. Make sure that you are writing this same as we are writing here. After that, you can simply call this file writing procedure, which is call p, and we will use this write procedure that we have declared and pass these values output. Then after colon, you have to write this percentage addr and the content. So it will, and the third it will accept the third argument as length. Okay, so let's check what is the third argument in write procedure. So in write procedure, yeah, so third is length of the data, so we have to specify it as a 500. Okay, so once it is assigned, then once this procedure is executed, your data is written inside the file. And then we will, after we are done with the writing the data inside the XML file, then we can directly close this file with by calling the procedure close. So here you have to pass this output which we are retrieving from the open file, right? So whatever the value we are getting here in output, it will be passed as it is to the close procedure, and then we are doing end if and setting the star INLR equals to star on. So let's compile and create the file by calling it. So I'm firstly compiling it. So it is now compiled. Before we call this, let's check whether we have any other file here there or not. So work link, then do page down. We have given this path where we want to create the file. So here only one file is available, which is data.xml. So now we will call that program, and once we call it, it will create the file. So I'm calling it, call successfully. Now do the same query, hit the same command again. Sorry, work link, hit enter, go to the directory Sharmit, text Sharmit. So yeah, here you can see that text.xml is created, and this time it is written with the name Sharmit and email address. Okay, so yeah, that's how we can do the operation of dynamic XML file creation in IFS location. Okay. So let's check whether it is dynamic or not. So what we will do, we will change the values inside the variable we have written here. So instead of Sharmit, I will pass this time it as a check. Okay, only this thing we will change. Rest, or you can make it this also as tech@gmail.com. Then we will compile this and call it again. Okay, so that file is already existing. So let's see what will happen. So I'm calling it. So it is called. Now we will write it work lnk. This is something interesting because there is already one file with the same name. So let's see what it do. So it is same. Okay, so let me delete this file. Sorry, we have checked the wrong file. You have to check the text file. Actually, that was the previous XML file we have created. Let's see the test one. So it is now updated. Okay, so why it is updated? Because we are using the procedure for writing the data. So what it do, it uh, replace the content with the existing file. So whatever the thing we are creating, it will replace with the existing object, and we got the correct output because this time we are passing stack and texture with tech@gmail.com. So yeah, this is the way through which you can create the dynamic XML inside the your IFS location whenever it is needed. So yeah, that's all for today. In upcoming session we will discuss few more things. So thank you for watching Texture.